So today is the Museum Extravaganza. We get to hear from all of the wonderful museums about what's going on, and hopefully they get to hear from each other what's going on, although I'm sure there's a fair amount of communication that's going on regardless, but who knows what's actually lurking behind the scenes. We have such an amazing lineup today. We have the Academy Museum, we've got the Japan Foundation, we have Art Hype Gallery and the Spruce Magers Gallery. We've got KB Projects Gallery, Holocaust Museum, LACMA, LA Launch, and the Flutter Gallery. What an incredible panel of people to be with us today and to share with us all the extraordinary things going on with their particular institutions and the things that they're doing to outreach to the community and to make sure that art is alive and that history is alive for all of us in the Miracle Mile and beyond and beyond and beyond. People come from all over the world to be here. I can't believe that I'm walking distance from one of the center points of culture in LA and frankly for the country. So thank you everybody for being here. I'm Chuck Marquardt. I should probably say that for those of you who don't know me. I'm Chuck Marquardt. I work with Red Real Estate Group. It's a little company that my husband and I own. And I'm so pleased to be a part of the board of directors for the Greater Miracle Mile Chamber of Commerce. We also have Stephen Kramer, who's the president of the board for the GMMCC. We have Chris Devlin, who is our. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me, Chuck?
Yes, I can. Yep.
I was supposed to introduce as Chuck Marquardt. There you go.
Here I am.
And I've said I've been waiting all day to say this. The name of our program is Return to Reality from Zoom. And with that, I'll go back to Chuck.
Awesome.
And I'll just toss in that this is being sponsored by Television City.
Awesome. That's excellent.
Okay.
And of course, we've got the beautiful Meg McComb, who's the executive director with us. Chris Devlin is the IT and bookkeeping and all around just make sure everything happens kind of guy for the GMMCC. And of course, Christy Tarpley, who just makes sure that Stephen's on track for everything he needs to do at his law firm and for the GMMCC as well. So having said all of that, I thought we would go around and have the panelists speak briefly about who they are and their specific institution. And in particular, we'd like to know just a little bit about what you've done in the last year that you're particularly excited about with regards to new installations or programs, and anything else you want to share. 2 to 3 minutes, super short. We have so many amazing institutions on here, and then we're going to open up for a panel discussion. And we have some great questions to be asking you all as well. So why don't we go ahead and get started with, how about Mary and James and Launch, Launch, that's what it's called.
Hi, I'm Mary Karnowski, and I direct KP Projects, which is a gallery on North La Brea. I've had the gallery for going on 20 plus years, so we're excited to have an anniversary next year, and mainly focus on paintings, but have also started to work with a couple of prominent photographers like Vivian Meyer, who we've been showing for probably 6 or 7 years, and French photographer Henri Dolman, who was a photographer for Life magazine for 20 years. So we've kind of segued a bit to representing both painters and photographers. And we've been at a new location on North La Brea, just south of Melrose, for a couple of years now, and we're excited to be in that area. There's a lot of wonderful things happening in art, a lot of great little restaurants. So our community is sort of coming together, and we're excited about that. And, you know, it's nice to have this sense of community in our neighborhood, especially in the Miracle Mile and the Chamber. I mean, Steve and Meg and Chris have been so wonderful in supporting us all and sort of informing us when they can, you know, on things that we should know about. So I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you for being with us today. James, tell us a little bit about Launch. And by the way, Mary, I'm sorry, I lumped you in with Launch and I shouldn't have done that. Totally
No, it's
separate
okay.
organization.
We're kind of, yeah, we're linked.
Excellent.
Together and separate. Together and separate. Spoiler alert, Mary and I are married.
Yeah.
And once in a while, there's art talk in the household. So Launch produces TarFest, the annual free festival, usually held at the La Brea Tar Pits. We've been doing that for 20 years. This will be our 19th year. I apologize. And we are moving forward with the hopes of producing some type of festival this year. Last year, we were able to present a abbreviated program with the wonderful, generous support of Television City and the original Farmers Market. They provided a venue for us to provide a safe, socially distanced dance program that happened in the parking lot of the Farmers Market. So it kind of was through COVID that we were forced to reinvent or come up with some new innovative programming, and we were able to do that. And that's something that maybe we'll carry over this year. We would love to be in the Tar Pit Park and have a large gathering there, but if conditions aren't quite right for that, perhaps smaller satellite programming at different locations throughout the Miracle Mile District would be one way to highlight both businesses and institutions in the Miracle Mile, and also emerging artists and great programming that LA has to offer. We also run a gallery at 2nd Street, and we'll be having our first opening really since TarFest this Saturday, and maybe we'll talk about that later. But we're ready to show some art again and give some artists some exposure. So it'll be a 2-person show that opens this Saturday. And thanks to the Chamber and everybody here for all your support over the years.
Excellent. Thank you so much, James. Hey, Chris, I saw that you had your hand up.
Nope, I was just giving James claps for TarFest number 19.
Well, James always likes to get the claps.
Appreciate the claps and couldn't do it without the Chamber and all you wonderful people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, James. I want to move on to one of my personal heroes right now. He doesn't even know it yet, John Rice with LACMA. And he is also another proud member of the board of directors for the Greater Miracle Mile Chamber of Commerce. He joined us, 6 months ago, I think, at this point. And John, tell us a little bit about what's going on with LACMA that we should all know, and some of the installations you're excited about.
Well, I don't have much to say, except we're reopening. Hooray. Actually, I have a lot to say. Yay. So it's officially announced on Monday that we are opening to the public on April 1st. Just a side note, that is also LACMA's birthday. It's our 56th birthday. So a nice day to mark this occasion and to be able to welcome people back. So we're very happy. And member tickets go on sale tomorrow. There'll be a week of member days. So if you're not a member already and you want to get in first, those tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Otherwise, the public ticket sales go on sale March 25th. And we will be releasing tickets in 1 week blocks because we have to be very responsive to the circumstances and adjust our capacities. So rather than being able to buy a ticket, weeks or months out, you'll have to kind of wait for a ticket block to be released. So we'll be communicating to everybody about that. We have 6 new exhibitions that have not been seen since closure. They've been installed and just waiting for everybody. So we're very excited about that. Plus some other exhibitions that we've been able to extend that were cut short when we closed last March. So we're just very, very excited to have everyone back. And we'll be at 25% capacity following the guidelines for right now. But if we cross over into orange, we'll be at 50% capacity. And that certainly is, the galleries will be a very safe place to be. We have the best air filtration systems you can imagine. We've upgraded beyond what's required. There'll be all kinds of social distancing and mask wearing, and there's been a study done in Berlin that says museums are actually the safest environments to be in. So we hope everyone feels very confident returning to the museum. So we're excited.
Hey, when I come that first weekend that I can go,
Mhm.
what is the one exhibit that you are so excited that I need to go see?
Well, of course, I'm excited about all of them, but there's some recent acquisitions that we've made that have some really beautiful works in them. We have a small, one of our smaller galleries, but it's actually a rather large work that takes over the entire gallery by Colleen Smith that I highly recommend. And there's also some beautiful images of the former East Campus by Vera Luder, done with a camera obscura technique. They're large format, they are spectacular. So I would definitely prioritize those three, but you'll get to see it all.
Because who can narrow it down to one? Why do that when you can see six?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Hey, thanks so much. We're so glad you're with us, John.
You'd love to be part of this community.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Look at all these faces. I love looking at this Zoom board in front of me and seeing everybody. So let's go ahead and move on. And Jordana and I just lost your name, Lisa. Let's go ahead and talk about what's happening at the Holocaust Museum.
Hi, yes. So I would say some of it you asked, what have been the highlights during the pandemic? And we did our first public art installation in September, which was really exciting. We had this really beautiful sukkah that was reimagined as an old time Hollywood movie house, which was nestled in Pan Pacific Park, at the kind of the opening where our main doors are, where people would enter the museum. So that was really exciting. And then also I think our 360-degree tour that has over 50 touch points. So anyone can go and explore through the museum, learn about our artifacts, hear from Holocaust survivor speakers. That has also been a really wonderful opportunity for us. We did rebrand and launch a new website during the pandemic. So before closure, we were Los Angeles Museum of the Holocaust. Now we're Holocaust Museum LA. Really focusing first and foremost on being a Holocaust history museum nestled here in Los Angeles. And that's been a wonderful experience, launching a new website that is innovative and can connect people to survivor testimony, learning about primary sources, learning about some of our art collection pieces. Really interactive, I think, has been key during the pandemic when so many people are at home. So that's been wonderful. And then I don't know if we want to talk about reopening, but I would turn that over to Lisa, if that's something that we're sharing.
Well, I will just say we're not reopening at this time. We're certainly we're working towards that. We've made many changes in the museum, in terms of our air quality and all. But I think, we're definitely going to open in the coming months. But I think what's most exciting, and Jordana can speak to this better than anyone, is that we actually, as a closed museum, welcomed more students, more visitors in any single month since the museum opened. And Jordana, if you just would share that. Thank you.
Yeah, in the month of February, we had over 4,200 students in those 28 days visit the museum virtually. We started launching virtual tours of the museum in May of last year. So we pivoted very, very quickly and have had just phenomenal outreach. I mean, we had schools as far as Alaska touring our museum galleries with their own personal docent virtual. And this is something that I think we'll continue to do even when we reopen. Just the way in which that we've been able to bring our collection to communities and schools across the globe during this time has been really phenomenal. So that's been really just fun to see so many people interacting with our galleries from the comfort of their own homes, from as far as Anchorage to as close as Fairfax High School.
Right on. That's excellent. Well, we're
Very,
so pleased.
very
You're
nice.
always such amazing supporters of the Miracle Mile Chamber. We're always so happy that you're with us, and what amazing work you're doing. I'm so excited that these new venues are spreading what you have to offer to so many more people than before. So silver linings, right? Silver linings to the coronavirus. All right, let's move on and let's talk about the spruce. How did you pronounce that? Majeri?
Spruce mongers.
Muggers. Got it.
It really throws everyone
and-
off. No worries.
And Mariah, you know, I'm gonna admit something here, which everyone probably knows since I just slaughtered the name right now. I don't know very much about your institution. I'm so excited to hear what it's about.
Well, I'm so glad to talk to you guys. Hi, I'm Mariah. I am the exhibitions assistant at Spruce Moggers. I'm here on behalf of my boss, Simone, who's one of our senior directors. And I know a lot of people also don't know how to pronounce it and have never maybe been. We're the small gallery located at 5900 Wilshire, to the right of the like big high rise, right across the street from LACMA. We enjoy a really nice friendship with you guys, especially now that they're sort of in our high rise as well, and they have their own offices. We opened in 2016 there and have enjoyed just like a lot of really wonderful exhibitions and partnerships throughout that time. We are a German-based gallery, so our home is in Berlin, and that opened, it's Philomena Moggers and Monica Spruth, and they partnered up in the 80s and have been partners ever since. And they opened a gallery in London in the early 2000s, and then we are the latest branch, fully functioning. It has been a rough ride, I would say. I feel like all of us can say it's been a rough ride pandemic-wise, but something that has been really exciting recently has been that we are reopened to the public at a diminished capacity for sure, and by appointment only. But we are really happy to be showing right now the work of, you know, famed cult director John Waters, and then yeah, John, he's so lovely, and
John Boy from Baltimore.
Yeah, good old John from Baltimore.
In one of his films.
No way. What a small world. The longer I live in Los Angeles, the smaller it truly becomes, I feel.
Absolutely.
But so we have John on our top floor, and then Cindy Sherman on our first floor, and she's actually showing, it's a new body of work that is one of her first non-photographic bodies of work. It's these new like larger than life tapestries that are made in Belgium. So since we've opened in like, I think early February, we've been booked solid. So there hasn't been a weekend where there hasn't been visitors, which has been really, I find refreshing, if not a little, makes you feel a little scared, but in a nice way. And we're just really excited to have people in the gallery again, and for people to be seeing the work, because we were closed for a really long time, obviously in response to like the rise in cases and LA not coming out of the purple tier for like the whole last year. So yeah, we're just really excited to have people in the gallery again.
Excellent. I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to go see everything that you described. John Waters. And I've got to ask, Chris, which movie?
Oh, Crybaby.
Crybaby. What were you, an extra? Or did you have lines?
I came in for a lead, and then I didn't get it, and then they called me just to come in for a day and do some extra work, and I did that just for fun. But it was great. Back in the day, I knew nothing. Nothing.
Someone named Johnny Depp got it, I think.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
I'm so angry with him right now. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about Art Hype Gallery. Karen, Sarah, thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Oh, well, it's just so incredible to be on this panel with everybody in LACMA and established galleries. We're a very, very small gallery, and we started in 2018, mostly with our brand sort of started with conversations with artists that I would meet. And it's still just a sole proprietor establishment, but I met Genesis B, who started painting, and she was her paintings were the impetus for us to start showing artwork. And then we started that at Tag Gallery on Wilshire, and then then we did 3 exhibits that year with solo shows for women, including Sarah Svetlana and Debbie Debbie Lynn, who's still part of our gallery. And so now we have a little space in North Hollywood, and the show here is Anthony Hobson, who was born in South Central LA. And it's really sad that not that many people have been able to see these drawings. He taught himself to draw, basically, and they're such original little patterns and abstract figures and images from nature that he recreates in these ink drawings. And we've managed to put 65 of them up on a magnetic wall. And so we're kind of, the show is supposed to close, but I just don't want to take down the install until, more people can see it. So we're kind of keeping it open. And then we're opening a new space on Pico, and Saturday we're having an opening for a pop-up show that we just put together in the last 2 weeks called Rebel Talent, and it has 9 LA artists and some of our gallery artists, and we're very excited. The kind of headliner is Narciso Martinez. He did an installation there, and you can find out all about what's happening on our website at arthype.net. With the pandemic, we managed to stay open with small receptions. We did a virtual reception with one of the artists, Michael Griffin, and then the most exciting thing that's happened to us is a gallery in London has reached out to us, and they want to collaborate, and hopefully they're asking for our artists to show a catalog of them to show there, and we're gonna try to, for me, it's like real important to have exhibitions. So I'm hoping, we can have an exhibition there and an exhibition here. And that's just a huge development for the people we represent. And we're super excited about that.
Awesome. We're so glad about that. Congratulations on all the success. We're going to move on to Mariko with the Academy Museum. We're so glad you're with us today. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Thanks, Chuck. It's good to be here. But before I even talk about my organization, I just wanted to maybe acknowledge what's going on in the world. I'm Japanese American. I'm Hapa. This has been a really hard week. So I just wanted to say, like, everybody, it's really good to be here in community with you all. So talking about the Academy Museum, we're going to be a film museum. We're located on the LACMA campus at the corner of Wilshire and Fairfax. And we've completed exterior construction. We're wrapping up interior construction, and object installation will happen in the weeks before the opening, just for preservation and protection of our objects. But we have installed during this time Bruce the Shark, which if you've walked down Fairfax, you can see Bruce hanging in our building. So it's very fun. If you haven't done it, it's like a nice sight to see. It's a sign of progress for us. So I encourage you to go if you're going on a walk in the neighborhood to check that out. And of course, we'd intended to open the museum last year, but the extra time has really allowed us to collaborate more, to produce some pre-opening virtual programs, which we announced last week, to continue to build our collection and to really focus on community building and accessibility. So, we're really committed to being a museum that's of, by, and for its communities. So, it's really been allowing us time to be more collaborative and reflective. I think we'll probably talk a bit more about programming as you ask questions, but we will be launching virtual public programs just before the Oscars this April. So I just wanted to mention that. I can plug it a little bit later, but they're going to take place between late April and the museum's opening on September 30th. So we're really thinking about ways to be virtually accessible. And, we know that not everybody who may want to visit the museum will be able to. So we're thinking about ways to bring the museum to people digitally. Right. And tickets will go on sale for our opening in September this summer.
Fingers crossed. Can't wait. All right, and let's move over to the Japan Foundation, where we have Mike Penny and just a few other people. a few other people that we should probably know about, from Yasuko to, and is it pronounced Rio?
Yeah, that's real.
Excellent. So Mike, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all. I'm Mike Penny from the Japan Foundation, Los Angeles. And yes, joining me today are our newly appointed director, Yasuko Uchida, and our newly appointed deputy director, who came here last December, I believe, from Japan, Ryo Takehara. So it's just great to see all of you. It's been a long year, perhaps evidenced in my case by this unruly wilderness on my head. I'm not very good at cutting my hair, so I'm looking forward to a real haircut soon. But anyway, yes, we are looking forward to reuniting with old friends, making new ones in person when it's safer to do so. As of right now, we don't have a specific reopening date in mind, but we're hoping to resume public activities at our center on Wilshire, at Wilshire and Courtyard Place, by the way. Hopefully late summer, early fall, we'll have to see. It's a wait and see situation, a lot of that this year, of course. But we promise to have plenty of fun reasons for everyone to come visit us when we can finally reopen safely. In the meantime, though, we've been doing a lot of online programming. Like James from Launch mentioned, COVID kind of forced us to reinvent ourselves and build on the online programming we already had. So we've just really been going hard in that direction. Yeah, I guess we'll probably talk about some specific events later on in the discussion, but two big upcoming Save the Dates events I wanted to mention were actually starting today. We have a art exhibition for the late Japanese artist Nobuo Anzai, actually whose artwork you may be able to see a little bit of behind me in the upper half of my virtual background. But that's starting today. And there will be a kickoff event, a discussion tonight at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. So if you just go to our website or our Facebook, Japan Foundation Los Angeles, jflalc.org, you'll be able to check that out. And then next Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., we'll have a fascinating and yummy lecture on a staple of Japanese cuisine, curry rice. So we'll have a culinary researcher and traveling chef kind of walk us through curry rice and what that's all about. So lots of online programming. We're looking forward, though, to just being able to see everybody and share space with them. So, but thanks for having us today. It's great to see everybody.
Excellent. So glad you're with us. And I just want to make sure, is anyone from the Flutter Gallery on? Chris Dowson, I'm not seeing that name, but I just wanted to give the opportunity. I'm not seeing anyone, I'm not hearing any takers. All right. So we thought we would open things up right now to a Q&A from anybody who has questions for the museums in general, or any questions you may have for specific museum or art space. So go ahead and raise your hand, or just unmute and say me, or something along those lines. We'll go ahead and get to you. And maybe to start things off, I'm not seeing anybody raising their hands right. Oh, Lenore's going me. Lenore, hey, so good to have you.
Yes, it's so nice to always be here and see everyone. Question, does anyone know when the Van Gogh interactive exhibit is coming to LA? I think it's supposed to be at LACMA. Nobody.
So here's what I've heard is that it's going to be in an undisclosed location in downtown LA, and that you can get tickets right now. So if you're on Facebook at all, I'm getting it slammed with Facebook ads about it, but it's undisclosed. They're going to disclose very close, and it should be right smack dab in downtown LA somewhere.
Okay.
And they've already sold something like 40,000 or 100,000 tickets.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, well, that's great. And I can't wait to see the Japan Foundation. I love the artwork and that's behind you. It's wonderful. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Hey, Chris, I see you raising your hand.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions I can kick this off with. So to all the galleries and the 5 museums that we have here today, what was one of your biggest challenges during this time, and what were the silver linings that came out of this? You can, I know some of you have talked about this so far, but if you want to touch on that, that would be terrific.
I'm going to go ahead because there's so many people who on the panel. I'm just going to go ahead and select a few lucky individuals. Mariah, why don't we get started with you?
For sure. I definitely think that, I mean, the whole point of a gallery is that it's supposed to be like available to the public and a place where anyone and everyone can come see art and experience different things. So definitely, I mean, obviously being closed we closed, I mean, about this time last year, all the way through the summer, and then sort of in like August opened up an exhibition, Sengen and Gudi, and we had that exhibition open for a few months, but then because of like the increasing cases, sort of like in November, we closed down and have only reopened again in February. So I mean, obviously that has been the hardest part, but also I would say trying to come up with creative solutions for still engaging an audience and still presenting artwork and still, you know, like spreading the art of the artists that we represent virtually. It has been really hard, but something that has been really rewarding has actually been starting to do virtual tours of our exhibitions while we're closed. So that was never really something we did prior, but now, like, you know, we get museums and other galleries, collectors, also just sort of like people from other cities and other places who don't have access to the show physically now can like give us an email. We're like, yeah, like, we'll take you on a personal Zoom tour of our show, and you would get then a lot more in-depth information than you probably actually would if you had come to see the show just in person. Like,
tell me about it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Wow.
yeah.
Tim,
Yeah,
Burke
Tim.
has his hand up.
Yeah. I want to make
How's she doing? She using a walker to get up, and how's she doing mentally about it?
I think we have somebody unmuted.
When you do PT and you get better and better, that actually
John,
is reinforcing
you're off the
the
mute.
spirit. So
Got him. Okay, Tim. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the key to recovery, and I Assemblymember Bloom definitely thinks it's a key. It is through the arts, leading with the arts and culture, and watching this right here is exactly what we have been talking about, trying to see happen. Because just like when we were closed down and they opened up the Santa Monica Mountains for hiking, people who hadn't been up in those mountains for 10 years were coming up, and they're still coming up now because they're finally getting back there. Absence makes the heart feel fonder. Well, this is really a thing I'm seeing with the arts all the way around. And I think there's going to be a really powerful upwelling as everything starts to open up. And it's a real great advantage for everybody in the arts, and really seeing what we have here. German galleries opening up here, all these connections, the UK connection, all of these things working back and forth are going to be really, really powerful. And we've made these communications with each other possible. Japan Foundation, it's all starting to come forward. I just got off a Hollywood bid call right before this, and it was all about trying to get the Hollywood Small Theater Road on row and the art galleries on North La Brea there to really develop into a strong community of art, period, not just theater row and art galleries, but a combination through the two. So all of this is starting to come. We see it across the state. We've got Save Our Stages, which is now renamed, coming through. There's going to be a lot of good things happening. And as long as people like this chamber is doing this kind of work, I think people are going to get more and more coordinated to make some of these openings into really important things for not just everybody who's doing the work to get them open, for everybody who's missed it for the last year in a really, really huge way. So I think it's really great what I'm seeing here. Really great.
Great, and thank you,
We
Tim.
so appreciate.
Oh, sorry, Chuck. I just wanted to interject that for those who don't know, Tim Pershing is a senior field representative for Assemblymember Bloom's office. So we thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, and the arts is my background.
Excellent.
Right. Excellent. So glad that you're here with us today. So I'm wondering, once you're back to being fully operational, do you intend to continue with the digital platform, platforms that you've initiated, or are some of those going to wane off? What's going to be happening? I see, John, you're nodding your head.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, during closure, first of all, we discovered all kinds of new capabilities, talents, technical skills that we never really knew we had. And when we had to, developing webinars and online content and all of the ways that we could continue serving our audiences were fantastic, and we had a great response. So we will continue that, and we're finding that often online engagement is the most appropriate type of engagement depending on the content. A good webinar will reach globally, and we can have a conversation truly, across many, many time zones. But what's interesting that we found is with our online program, as much as we are able to reach beyond the boundaries of Los Angeles County and truly have people attend a single event from Hawaii, from New York, from London, the largest population was the most local. It continued to be the Miracle Mile community, continued to be our immediate neighbors. And so I think we're realizing that you can reach a global audience, but really having a sense of place in the people that you serve locally is essential. So it's just reaffirmed the connection that we have with Los Angeles County and our immediate neighbors on the mile.
Yeah. I'm wondering, because LACMA is one of those, it's just a huge organization, relatively speaking, and some of the smaller, more modest sized galleries and museums. I'm wondering what your experience has been with that digital platform. And we heard a little bit from Lisa and Jordana about their incredible success with their virtual platforms. But I'm wondering, Mary, if you've been able to reach out in that way or not, or whether it's necessary for you to, or any of the other slightly more modest sized museums.
We definitely did a strong pivot digitally, and we had an existing website, and we're active on all social media platforms. We also are on Artsy and ArtNet to sort of reach other collectors. But I thought the visual element online was particularly important. So the look of our website maybe wasn't what I wanted it to be, but had put it aside just because launching exhibitions and dealing with the day-to-day is so difficult. So it kind of gave us a breather, a little bit of a panic breather to just pivot. So we researched quickly different online, gallery platforms that we could actually sort of manifest ourselves with our technical abilities. And I think it was really positive because that gave a new look to the gallery. It felt fresh. It was something to announce to people. And I think it was grounding for our artists, because I think what we experienced in the beginning was this kind of incredible uncertainty, not only for ourselves, but for our artists, saying, what's going to happen with my show? I'm not going to have an opening.
Right.
I rely on sales to exist. So we had to take on a more grounding position, regardless of what we were feeling as a business, and sort of calm the waters. And we moved forward with our programming 100%. There were delays, so framing was delayed. Things were delayed by a couple months or so for certain shows, but we soldiered on. and presented shows, launched them online. When we could, we might take in an appointment or here, and make very clear masking, socially distanced. We had enough space to do that with like maybe one collector at a time, did Zoom presentations. I kind of went into a deep dive of like StreamYard platforms and any kind of platform that I could do, sort of engage with people. But I think what I was surprised by, and will continue digitally and expanding, and I'm really interested in that anyway, personally, because I think that is the future. This is not going away. There are all sorts of indicators of that, and reaching people in their comfort zone. But I was surprised at the people who started to call the gallery. Collectors would see something online and they would call us and they would talk to us about that piece that they might be interested in buying. And nobody's been using the phone, it's texting or emailing has been the way of communication. And it just made me realize that people wanted that kind of contact. And I think we made a connection with some new collectors that will be lasting collectors because we gave them that time. And it was important for us too. So that sort of community building and direct interaction and hearing someone's voice and, also just engaging with our artists more one-on-one in phone conversations that were non-digital, that were more direct. I was surprised by that. And I was happy that was occurring as well.
Wow. It's such an interesting time. Not only are we dealing with the pandemic and all of the health ramifications of that and the way that's changed the way that we perceive being in community with each other on many different levels, but we've also been dealing with the Black Lives Matter and all of the ramifications of what's going on in our communities and the rage that's out there and the way people are expressing it. And then we've got the recent, thank you, Mariko, for bringing up the recent wave of attacks in Atlanta, let alone the rest of the country, and how that's affecting us. And right, the Me Too movement, even though it wasn't directly this last year, it was the year previous that a couple of years previous that it really started hitting. It's affecting art. It's affecting how we interrelate. It's affecting whether people get reelected. It's affecting many, many things. I'm wondering how these different movements and all this incredible social change is affecting how your museums are engaging the community or what you're presenting.
Well, for us personally, I think artists took the lead on a lot of that, at least the artists that I work with, and they wanted to launch print releases where 100% of the donations were given to the causes they believed in. So we did, one of our first print launch, everything went to Feeding America because that was the pressing issue at that moment. Another artist wanted to do a print release that benefited the ACLU. And then another artist, transgender, rights and issues. So we found projects throughout the year that artists sort of kind of pushed us towards, like, you manifest this, but this is what I want to do. And we supported them to as much as we could. But I think that made everyone feel like they were participating and they were being active.
Yeah. Any of the other museums? John, you just unmuted.
Yeah, I'll just say, in this entire process, we've just had to have a lot of conversations at LACMA and do a lot of internal thinking. And we did make a statement about the museum not being a neutral space, that we have a very active role in how this dialogue happens. So we've taken that responsibility very seriously and also provided spaces to amplify other voices and provide resources. So that's another role that we think is very important, is not just to be a framework or a channel for messaging, but to also be a place where other voices can be amplified. And we'll be introducing a project in April, we'll be announcing it, that addresses some of these kind of contemporary issues and discussions that are happening that we're very proud of. So it's led to a lot of very important conversation on our side internally, but also on our external statements.
Hey, Chuck. Chuck, I have
who is that?
Wellborn. I have a question for John, because he did mention that there is this great support and interest from the Miracle Mile neighbors. Can you tell us anything about the reopening schedule for Ray's and Stark Bar?
Oh, sure. We're in discussions with that right now. We do know that the cafe, the food service that's out of the Airstream trailer, that will come back on March, when we open for members. So on that first day of member days, which is March 26th. And then the sit-down service at Ray's and Stark Bar is likely to come back around April 7th. We have a lot to work through on that. Restaurants getting back up and running again does not happen quickly. So we want to make sure it's done with all the right protocols. And but yeah, so soon.
And thank you for that, John. And I just want to go back to the last question, because we had a few people who wanted to respond to the last question about cultural change. And Mariko, you'd mentioned that you wanted something, had something to share.
Yeah. I just want to echo John. I mean, I think we've had a lot of conversations at the Academy Museum, and we have this also kind of unique opportunity as a new institution to kind of start these conversations before we open. We announced that we do have a gallery titled Impact Reflection in our core exhibition, which is called Stories of Cinema, but it's really dedicated to considering how films both reflect and shape our culture. So there are 4 focus areas, which are Me Too, Black Lives Matter, labor relations, and climate change. And so we've been in conversation with activists and scholars about these topics and are really looking forward to engaging with these ideas and dialoguing with their public about them. Similar to John, the museums are not neutral spaces, and we have this great opportunity to platform and to encourage dialogue. So there's some of it in our pre-opening programs, but once we open as well, there's going to be a stream of public programs that bring activists, scholars, film artists together in conversations about these topics and their intersection with film and media, which obviously is aligned with our mission. So, and there's that like accountability and transparency piece that we're really talking a lot about, wanting to be more representative of our community here very locally within the Miracle Mile and more broadly in LA. And really incorporating the perspectives of staff, board, vendors, and really like co-creating together. That's something that we're really excited about.
Great. I have a question for Mariko. Just that there was such a wonderful Academy presentation that you did for the press recently. I think that was terrific. One of the things I wanted to ask I didn't get to was, are you guys going to be doing an exhibition about some of the unsung heroes of the silent film era, the women, all the ethnicities that were doing films back then that just, there's no record of them in any of the film history that I've studied?
Yeah, so that's something that's kind of a through line through our exhibition. So our core exhibition will rotate on a regular basis. And part of the reason that we designed it that way is to be very inclusive and to kind of be able to share all of these different stories. The reason why it's called Stories of Cinema is because there's not one film history, there are so many. And we only have so much space. We can't tell them all in one exhibition, but we can rotate to kind of include more and more voices. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be representation from the silent film era. There's going to be lots of different filmmakers that people aren't necessarily familiar with, bringing forward histories that I think will be surprising to a lot of people. So that's something we're thinking about in our core exhibition, but also in temporary exhibitions. So we're talking about pre-cinema in one of our galleries, and in another gallery, our temporary exhibition, the first one will be Hayao Miyazaki. And we're really excited to bring Hayao Miyazaki's archive to the US. But then after that, it's actually a regeneration Black cinema from 1898 to 1971, which I think is a history that a lot of people aren't super familiar with, but films kind of before that Blaxploitation era of filmmaking. And there's such a rich and deep history of Black filmmaking around the world, but especially in the US.
Thank you.
Excellent. I wanted to give Lisa and Jordana an opportunity maybe to address that, how you may be being impacted by the social movements going on in especially the last year.
Yeah, so right before actually the pandemic, so January of 2020, we had re-curated part of our second gallery that deals with the rise of Nazism to take a deep look at Nazi rhetoric and Nazi symbols and make connections to the ways in which white supremacist groups in the country are currently exploiting them, appropriating them, using them for their own gain. And, you know, with the understanding that not everybody can always make these connections and know the full history behind some of the slogans and symbols we see and hear on social media and on the news. So then, you know, a few months later, when we had to close our physical doors, we started designing different public programs to talk about this. Following the murder of George Floyd and really understanding and grappling with the issues that, you know, we've been seeing a rise in hate rhetoric and xenophobia and anti-Semitism and racism and, you know, unfortunately, really violent attacks in the last few years. And it was still increasing. We launched a virtual public program that's monthly called Building Bridges, where we have different conversations, less so about Holocaust history, but more about social relevancy, whether it be talking about the election or discrimination in different communities throughout Los Angeles, and taking a look at how conversations that we're having today are so important in understanding Holocaust history. So if anyone's obviously interested in seeing some of our previous Building Bridges programs, they're on our YouTube page. All of our public programs are there. And then of course, we are still doing them monthly. In addition, we have been really working to using the closure as a time to rework some of our exhibitions and displays and build out what I was mentioning earlier, and making like these social connections to just like the horrors of what's happening. And when we have students and visitors come to the museum, we really want them to understand that this is not a Jewish story. This is a human story. And this is a story of human capacity to do the utmost horrific things to one another, but in the face of that, also the most courageous things. And so just changing some of the tones and dialogues, and we did additional training for all of our docents on how to best deal with the types of questions that arise and how to best make sure that this is not, you know, some sort of history lecture, but is a really engaging conversation using primary source artifacts from the Holocaust era, but having conversations that are socially relevant about today's issues in society. So those are some of the changes that we've been sort of planning in the last, I guess, year and a half. And unfortunately, there have been incidents that have just accelerated the need for that kind of education.
Yeah, that whole idea that we're not operating in a vacuum here. There's a historical context that informs us as to what's going on today, and we can learn from that and use that as we move forward. So I wanted to give Karen an opportunity to talk about any of that. If you have anything on your mind, you don't have to. And of course, we'd love to hear from the Japan Foundation.
And what is the question?
about whether the social movements in the last year have impacted the art in your gallery in any way, or the way that you're presenting information, and just have the opportunity to speak to that if you choose.
You know, from the beginning, we've been focused on making sure that we're representing people from different backgrounds and experiences, and we do have a very diverse roster. So we represent people from all the issues that have been, you know, in the news. And I really focus on personal stories and individual stories from you. Mostly, you know, you can learn about each of our artists on our website and using mostly their own voices, you know. So I just see my job as a curator to bring them, whoever that person, whoever that artist is, to, you know, their true self. I interview a lot. Yesterday I interviewed Narciso Martinez. He talked about his work in English and he talked about his work in Spanish for, and I need help with the Spanish, right, to edit it and stuff like that. But it's like, I have a background in oral history, so That's really important to me, to get the artist's own words and the artist's own experience on record.
Well, thank you. And any thing that you'd like to add, Mike or Yasko or Rio?
Sure. Should I take this?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just think it's really heartening and just truly encouraging to hear how our Miracle Mile neighbors are, giving this such a thoughtful response. Just the amount of thought and going into their planning is really heartening, because of course it is a scary time, and it's one of that someone just mentioned has been accelerating. We've really been ramping up the speed at which society is changing and encountering these issues and this friction and this hatred. So JFLA, we've tried to do our part over the past year to not only show outward support for social justice movements, but to have a lot of conversations where we look inward. It's a topic we discuss often, one we want to have shape, our program planning and perspective moving forward. So in addition to Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, these other social justice movements we've been talking about, we've of course been saddened to see more discrimination against people of Asian heritage here and elsewhere, and over the past year. And we see, the role JFLA could and should play in bringing out more awareness of Asian and Asian American matters. And we want to definitely, like I said, have that shape our programming moving forward. So, but I again, just so heartening that, everyone's thinking about this and spending time on it and asking themselves, what can we do? And we want to be part of that.
Excellent, thank you. So we're starting to draw to a close. I'm wondering if anybody has a question you would like to ask the presenters, either a specific one or just kind of throw one out to the crew in front of you. All you have to do is.
Got a question?
Yes. I guess I'm addressing everybody. Since the capacity is driven down because of the percentage of visitors, are the hours of the museums extended because of that, possibly to get more people through the exhibits? Is that reasonable? I don't know.
I'll answer it quickly. I think it's a very reasonable question. We're going to see where that's certainly on the table for LACMA. Right now, we'll open with our usual hours, but we are definitely actively exploring and watching carefully. And if we can extend hours and get more people into the galleries, we will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anybody else having any changes in their hours because trying to drive as many people through as possible in a day?
Aaron Seinfeld has a question too as well.
Everyone, I didn't want to interrupt. Oh, I'm getting some feedback. Okay. Hi, I've been here the whole time, but I'm multitasking, but I wanted to share those that don't know me. I'm the East Area Field Deputy for LA County Supervisor. Listening to everything and so happy to hear about all of the reopenings and the future plans. I echo Tim Pershing. I don't know if he's here, his amazing words about the importance of culture right now and the arts. And I think all of you know that Supervisor Kuehl shares those feelings as well. So just continue to know that our office is a resource. We know how difficult the pandemic has been for your industry, and know that if there's ever any questions, either reach out to Fernanda Morales or me. We're here to support. I just wanted to mainly say, hey, I'm here, I'm listening. I'm going to share with Supervisor Kuehl and just send my regards. So I will go back to being incognito, but wanted to just quickly say hi.
We're so glad you're not incognito. I can't say it, but I can mean it. All right. So, well, let's go ahead and I would just like to hear one thing from each of our panelists that you are super excited about in the next 30 days. Something that you want people to know about. Just one thing out of all the things we could be talking about. And let's go ahead and get started with Mariah.
Ooh, okay. The next 30 days. I don't know that a whole lot.
Yeah,
is
how's
going-
that for putting you on the spot?
I don't know that a whole lot is going to change for us in the next 30 days, just because other than potentially opening more, as in like right now we're only open Thursdays through Saturdays, 12 to 5, which is a very limited hours. And so I guess depending on how, you know, LA County goes in terms of cases, and if we stay in this like happy red tier, we might potentially then extend our hours to be more of like a pre-pandemic normal where we were open from Tuesday to Saturday. But I would say that's pretty much the only really exciting thing we have going on right now. Our exhibition is open until May 1st, and it could be extended. It's a hard thing right now, I think, to sort of pin down for us an exhibition schedule, just because we have to coordinate between like 3 different galleries and like all these artists. So, but something to look forward to, I guess, later in the summer is we'll be having a really wonderful exhibit of the last body of work by renowned Los Angeles artist John Baldessari, who died last year, right sort of in January, right before the pandemic really hit. So we'll be showing his last body of work, which is a real honor, and something that we've been sort of saving until people could come to the gallery, because it is, I mean, such a celebration of him and such a celebration of like his lifelong love of Los Angeles. So we wanted to save it until people could actually come see the dang thing, you know? But that's sort of exciting stuff for us on the horizon.
That's exciting. Good for you. James Pinozo.
Hey, so yeah, I'm just excited to try this grand experiment of reopening and get art really in the forefront of people's minds. It's great to hear all the great energy of all the institutions and galleries in the area. And as people hopefully are able to get vaccinated and test the waters of leaving their homes and venturing out and having safe adventures that they include, you know, art experiences and galleries and museums. Artists are an important voice in our community, and they often reflect the times in a really unifying way. And I'm excited and optimistic for the future. We've had a lot of time to reflect on a lot of important issues during this time, and looking forward to a better, stronger, and more resilient and celebratory Los Angeles.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Mariko, one thing.
Our virtual, so some of our virtual programs within the next 30 days, you will be able to sign up to check out. So the first one will be on April 22nd, and it's called Breaking the Oscar Ceiling, and it'll be a conversation between Sophia Loren, Whoopi Goldberg, Marlee Matlin, and Buffy Sainte-Marie, who all were Oscar firsts in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, check out the website. I'll put it in the chat. But I also wanted to mention, and this is not a plug for a thing, but we will be doing some workshops, and we definitely want to do some outreach to people in our very hyper local community. And so if there are schools that, you know, you would recommend we reach out to see if they might want to be involved in these much smaller workshops that will only be available to smaller groups, that are kind of, will be much more intimate spaces. Definitely, I'm going to put my email in the chat too. Reach out to me, let me know. We're trying to expand the people we're in conversation with around those. So I know you're all very connected, so would appreciate any connections that you would like to make.
All right, we need to put that in the next newsletter. Thank you so much for that, Mariko. Let's go ahead and move on to John Rice.
I mentioned some of the current exhibitions that I'm excited about, but I will look a little bit further beyond those. And in June, we will be opening the reinstallation of the modern galleries. So if you remember where the modern galleries were in the former building, in the Amundsen building, it is now going to be on the 3rd floor of BCAM with all that amazing light coming through the skylight. So it'll be a truly transformative new way of looking at that collection. And it will be the only permanent collection that'll be on view, and that will be on view up until the new building. So it'll be
What's old is new again.
exactly. Yep, we're calling it Old
That's
Friends,
excellent.
New Favorite. We're excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Hey, Jordana and Lisa, what you excited about?
We're really excited. We're actually planning on doing an outdoor exhibition of student art in the Pan Pacific Park area on our museum campus in June and July, which we're really looking forward to. We're also looking forward to all of our summer student workshops where we work really closely with students, and we actually have an amazing partnership with the Wallace Annenberg, where students put on a theatrical performance inspired by Holocaust survivor stories. And we're also looking forward to reopening, but continuing our virtual impact that we've had. I think we've learned so much about forming and building community. And so we're really looking forward to, doing that in the physical museum, but also doing it in the virtual world.
Right on.
I'll just add
Thank you for that.
I'm very excited about LACMA reopening. I can't wait for the Academy Museum to open. But personally, I'm looking forward to our annual Holocaust commemoration ceremony. It's again going to be virtual this year. It's Sunday, April 11th at 11 a.m. There's more information on our website. But for decades and decades, it was held in Pan Pacific Park, and hopefully it will be again next year. But it still will be a really beautiful and meaningful ceremony virtually this year. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Let's go ahead and hear from Karen Sarah.
Well, this was an exciting event, so thank you.
Yeah.
And Saturday, we're opening our new space, Pico, and it's also the Rebel Talent exhibit, which I've been wanting to do since, I think, for a year. And it's based on Angelica Gino's book, Rebel Talent, which is about how rebel behaviors can actually help out society. So yeah, so that.
Don't tell AJ that.
So anyway, and it's going to be a great show. It's only from 10 to 1 and it's restricted entry. So there might be a little bit of waiting. It's on the second floor of the Pico and 4th building. And we have a performer coming at 11 o'clock to show us his new hip hop style. So it should be fun.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Steve Kramer's going to show us his new hip hop style at some point. He's going to break out and move sooner or later. There he is. Mike, Penny, what you super excited about coming up?
All right. I'm super excited about all these upcoming events that I want to check out. But at JFLA, like I mentioned tonight, we're kicking off a month-long virtual art exhibition for Nobuo Anzai. Again, homage to a nomadic storyteller, the exhibition is called. And tonight the curators will have a discussion. So that'll be on our Facebook page. So check that out. And then afterwards, let's see, we'll have a culinary discussion next Tuesday about the curry rice. And we're kicking off our free film screenings again. So next Wednesday, I think at 7 p.m., we're going to screen a funny and heartwarming Japanese movie if you feel like it. And the link will be good for 24 hours. So even if you can't make it at 7 p.m. next week, the link will be up on our website and you can watch at your leisure. So that's some of the stuff we have coming.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Mary, what you super excited about? Mary Kanowski.
Sorry, I just needed to unmute. You know, we have exhibitions that we're scheduling, but I'm really looking forward to just sort of raising a glass to everyone and being able to gather and have people see art in person, step away from their computers and actually get out and see art in the flesh. And I'm excited about celebrating my artists because they've been through a lot, just like we have. It's been, you know, so much for us to sort of deal with. So, you know, and great, wonderful things have come of it. So I'm grateful we're all here. But nothing specific as our programming is still adjusting, but looking forward to seeing everyone in person.
Yeah, right. So looking forward to that. That just about wraps it up for today's session, but we still have the raffle to go. And so I'm going to turn things over to the going to be unmuted Meg McComb. and to Chris Devlin to say who's going to be winning
This is
and what
exciting.
you're going to be winning.
First of all, thank you, Chris, for minding all of this and keeping us connected technically, because some of us are not as good at this as you are. And I would like to thank all of our panelists. This has been an extraordinary session. I'm just delighted. The energy, the information, the commerce, and the community is so clear here. And I want to thank you all for doing that and being a part of it. And I hope this is the beginning of many of these conversations. So with
I'd
that,
like to take a moment to echo Meg's statements. This is Kramer. I'm on, right? You're looking funny.
You're good.
It was an unbelievable presentation. I want to thank Meg, Chris, Mr. Marquardt. I will not do that dance, at least not yet, but it was an incredible panel. I mean, this was like something that ought to be on PBS. This is how our community responds. I just want to thank all of you. It was really fantastic. Now we can start giving away things. Thank you, Meg. I'm sorry for the interruption.
no problem. You're the president. You get to interrupt whenever you want. Okay. All right. Now let's start with, this is from Dr. Engel, Dr. Painless. I mean, if you're going to have a dentist, you really should be going to him. And he is going to give away a full exam with x-rays. So Chris, who gets that?
I go to Guy Eisner.
Guy Eisner, excellent. Okay. And so while we're at it, Mr. Eisner stopped by the office and left a really fine bottle of red wine. And so from Cressa, Mr. Eisner's company, who gets a bottle of red wine?
Oh, that would be Renee.
Renee, all right. Is
I
Renee
need
still
it.
here?
Thank you.
Yay! Okay. And then Karen Sorrow, who makes fabulous masks, is going to donate 2 of them. They're very stylish. You will be the most stylish person in the room and wherever you go. So who gets the 2 Sorrow Studio masks?
That would go over to LACMA and John Rice.
Ah, Mr. Rice, who always needs to be stylish, indeed. Okay.
Thank you.
From Spruce Moggers, we have a Gilbert and George catalog. Who gets that?
That would go to Allison Roca.
Is she here?
I don't believe so. I guess I have to draw again.
Oops, oops. Snooze, you lose.
Oh, that would go to Elka.
Elka, are you here?
Nope. Oh, all right.
Uh-uh.
Tim Pershing.
Yay!
There he is.
Who gets it?
Tim Pershing.
Oh, Mr. Pershing, excellent.
As long as the value is under $50, I can accept.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Okay. And from the Japan Foundation, a cherry blossom gift collection. Very special.
Oh, Mark is not here. Mark Sorrell.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Oh, Rico, you get it.
Who gets it?
Marco, are you here?
Mariko?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay, now for from Fanciful, our great gift basket company, beautiful basket. Okay, who gets the Fanciful basket?
Yeah, that goes to you, Meg McComb.
All right. Yippee! I'm going to enjoy this one. And finally, last but not least, from Urban Florist, our favorite florist, a beautiful bouquet. Who gets that?
I'll take it.
Because Edith Nagel.
Is Edith here?
Nope. Oh, I guess I got to draw again. That does go to John Engel.
Really?
who is today Josh Engel.
Okay, so we're going to send it to Josh.
You know what? Josh would take it. He's getting his own apartment with his girlfriend. That means something may be going on.
Uh-oh. Okay.
God bless Dad.
All right. Now, thank you all. Now we need to go back to the president. We need to go back to Mr. Kramer. to give us a hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell. I said my piece. I'm just unbelievably impressed with this, and we'll leave it at that.
All right.
Me being speechless is a big deal.
All right,
Thanks,
all of
Steve.
you, please stay safe. Please be sane, breathe and be kind. And we will see you next month. And I haven't quite figured out who we're going to have, but it can't be as special as this one. So thank you all. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Be well.
Thank you, everyone. This was
Bye.
terrific.
It was great.
Bye.
See all of you.
Thank you.